Hello, everyone. Welcome to another show. It has nothing to do with age or gender. The book is It Has Nothing to Do with Age, but we added gender, as Tony said today, not to discriminate. So we're not. Tony's laughing, so Tony's here.
Always.
Oh,
well, not quite
not
always.
always. And we have a special guest today, John Brain.
Hello.
John, glad to have you here. And there we go. We're back.
We're on
back.
a roll today.
That was a test.
I think we're okay. We're okay. Okay. I'm getting the sign from the special window that we're okay. So anyway, John, I'm pleased that you're here, and we're going to do a lot of talking about you, which is good.
Well, thank you.
Right. But in starting our show, I start with a quote. And this is a quote by Pat Riley. And generally I'll ask Tony if he knows the name. Pat Riley, do you know the name?
I do not.
Okay, well, we're not going to hold that against you.
Okay.
But this is John, you're John, and this is Pat's quote. And the question is, does this quote in any way apply to you? And if it does, we'll start with that. Don't let other people tell you what you want. That's the quote.
That's it?
You want more?
Sure.
That's it.
Period. End the quote.
Don't let other people tell you
What you want.
what you want. That's a good thing to say. I would say in a lot of instances for that, having people tell you what you want could be used for your good or against how you are. I think it depends on what the situation that you're in that feels that way.
But how does it apply to you if it does? Or doesn't it?
I think it's good because of what you can learn from things of that aspect.
Explain.
I would say some things that you could learn from typically of if you were in a situation where something is new that you have no knowledge of or could use some knowledge of to apply that to what you know.
Okay. How about you, Tony? Does it apply to you?
Probably.
Okay. In what way might it apply to you?
Well, it's what you want is what you want in life, and no one should tell you what you want. Run your own path.
No one?
No one.
What about your significant other?
They can give you ideas. They can't tell you what you want. Only you can tell yourself what you want.
Okay.
That's the only one that really matters.
It's true. It's true. Okay. John is a farrier, and we have his email posted. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. First, John, how long have you been a farrier?
Probably going half a dozen years now.
So really, not that long.
Not that long at all.
Okay. Can you tell us, okay, you're in your 20s.
Sure.
All right, so you're a young guy in your 20s, been shoeing for maybe 6 years or so. When on earth did you decide to become a farrier?
That's a good question. I would say when I was younger, I used to work for Yellowstone National Park, and I gave guided horse tours out there.
Younger means what?
Younger right out of high school. Younger.
Really
In between college.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would pretty much go to college during the winter, and then during the summers, I would go work for a national park. And
So you're an employee of the National Park Service?
Yes, not necessarily a national park. You usually work for a concessionaire.
Okay.
So in this instance, it was Xanterra was the concessionaire for Yellowstone National Park. And they pretty much put on all your restaurants and your lodging, and they pretty much supply the staff for them.
But how did you get that position? You're 18 or so. How did you get that position?
The good old internet.
You always had, you liked horses?
I never had horses
Never
before.
had horses.
Nope. My folks and I used to take 2 week vacations during the year at the end, and before my sister and I would go back to school. And then one of the spots that we'd travel to that year was Yellowstone National Park. That was previous couple years before I went to Yellowstone for the first time.
Okay.
And then when we stayed there, we took a guided horse tour and kind of interested in it, and I enjoyed being outdoors.
Tell us about the interest. What was it about that first?
I would say the interest was.
Because that was your first horseback ride, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was pretty much. We had, you climb on your dude string of horses, and the dude string of horses were
You
a
follow
horse
the
that
line.
was rear to front end, and then that was it. That was their job of the horse. And then as they go along, you're kind of looking at all the scenery, and the people tell you about Yellowstone and the history, and then through there, I ended up talking to the gal that was giving us the horse tour. That was usually, they call them the outrider, and then the person that's in the
Was
front
she
would be
young?
the lead.
Was she young?
Oh yes.
That's why. Now we know.
And, yeah, the real comes
I
out.
don't know if the camera picked up on this, but there was a smile in John's eyes.
My blessing. So, but yeah, great experience. And then through there, I enjoyed being outside, and then I had asked her how she came about being a horse guide. Then through Yellowstone, she told me to go on the internet at November before the next summer came along.
Okay.
And that would be a good opportunity to apply before a lot of people do, and kind of cram before the summer hits.
So what would you Google?
YellowstoneJobs.com.
Simple.
Simple. YosemiteJobs.com. BryceCanyonJobs.com. They're all national parks, plain and simple.
So where do you want to work this summer, Tony?
I don't work.
So this is not for you.
It's not for me.
Is this for somebody high school age?
Sure.
Okay.
Or I would say for Yellowstone National Park, it varies from the age that people work. Everything from, I would say you have to be above 18. And then from in college, usually there's a grace period, and then it's usually after into college, then it goes to retirement age. In the
Wow.
retirements, usually a lot of them bring in their camper, and they park in the camps, and then they're usually the guests or the host or the lodging superintendents, or so. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, it's very neat.
so you applied,
Mhm.
but tell us some more about the girl.
The girl. Well, she had nice jeans on with red hair, and no, but we'll stop right there. So, but no, very, very nice. No, it was a good time. We had a good time in Yellowstone, and
So was
it's
she in high school or in between, or what was
college.
she? Oh, she was young college?
Yeah, so that kind of gave you the idea of in between college of nice job.
Okay.
Yep, good job to go out there.
Okay. So she had a influence in your making application.
Very much so.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Contact, networking.
So you applied,
I applied,
and you got the job,
got the job.
but you've never been on a horse.
I'd never been on a horse.
And you're going to lead the horse?
I am going to lead the horse and take it on.
Didn't
and
they ask for experience?
They did, and I told them I have no horse knowledge, but I'll work all day, and I learn quick, and I don't give up. And that was it. And he said, okay, we'll see you in June.
Really?
And then here I come.
Okay, so tell us about that first day of not knowing anything, unless did you read about horses prior to going?
Nothing.
So you
Nothing.
You didn't prepare at all.
No.
Is that typical for John?
Typical.
Okay.
Kind of just spur the moment and go for it.
Okay, so tell us about that very first day of, if you remember back that far.
I do, yeah. It was
Was the girl there?
she wasn't.
Okay.
That's
There
okay.
had to be somebody else.
Yeah, that was true. Yeah, the first day was fun. I showed up, and you go through your briefing period for the national parks.
What was
and
that
then
like?
The briefing period, they send you up to, it's called Mammoth Hot Springs for Yellowstone National Park, and that's up in the north side of Yellowstone. And you go into the hot springs area, and they bring all the new employees into an area, and they run them through the Yellowstone pretty much video that pops in, and you watch the video about the lodging and be safe to the environment and take care of it, and then enjoy your time that you're here working for Yellowstone, and that you do work for the concessionaire Xanterra. They set you up with your dorming, your lodging, and where you're going to stay and what you're going to work, and the uniforms. And then from there, you get on a bus and you get down to, or if you had a car, you drive down to the location that you're at. And throughout Yellowstone, in between each area of Yellowstone or each village, it's quite a drive. It's definitely not just like right over. It's probably maybe 40 miles in between each one of them to each different location. If you've ever been to Yellowstone,
Yeah.
maybe a little more. So yeah, take a bus all the way down there, another half a day later, and then you're at your stop. And then from there, I met a couple of the other canyon wranglers. That was the job title was a wrangler.
Were they experienced?
They were some of them, a couple of them. Yeah, there's a couple that have been there for maybe a year or so before, but there was quite a few newbies too. So, and then we showed up, and then it happened to be pouring rain that day that I got there, so that was really fun. So we ended up, they kind of gathered all the new wranglers up, and then went up to the corral, and then we had a big bonfire, and then enjoyed ourselves the rest of the evening. Yep.
So when do you learn about the horse?
The next day.
Oh, the next day.
Yep.
So the first day is just get acquainted?
Enjoy yourself, yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
Kind of feel yourself out.
So I
Yep.
think they just started telling you how to saddle, how to.
They taught you how to saddle, how to brush the horse,
Uh-huh.
yeah. They feed its cookies, and then from there, and then they get you ready, and you start out on all. There's the dude horses. The dude horses are the horses that the people ride, and then the wrangle horses are the folks, are the horses that the wranglers ride or the guides. And for the dude horses, you start them off in a whole bunch of lines. So you pretty much get them used to going nose to tail.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they climb on from nose to tail, you go pretty much down the line and you ride each horse. And then, so I kind of got the feel that way of just sitting on the horse because it followed the other one in front of you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
your,
after-
kind of your training.
that was my
Basically,
training,
Put you on
yep.
the horse and you'd
Follow.
And you went for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after saddling 10 of them, you kind of got the hang of it. You know what the blanket goes on first and then the saddle. So,
Okay.
yeah,
That was easy.
worked out good.
Okay. So horses, were they compliant or?
For the most part. For the most part. I would say,
So they cooperated.
yeah, I would say because they're in a herd. And then even though they're herd nose to tail, they're pretty good. Yep, they are pretty good. And I would say out in the national parks, they have a lot of meadow grass. And the horses love to eat because it's so sweet tasting, a lot of sugars in the grass out there. So that's the biggest thing that's also that the guides, the wranglers first try to get the dude horses to not eat all the grass. So you kind of start off on a fresh schedule, kind of picking their head up.
Okay.
So they're not pulling all the guests down, and then the guest goes over the top of the horse, and then then it goes down from there. So,
Did that ever happen to you?
oh, of course, many times.
Anytime?
Yep,
Okay.
we've had different times of we've been riding along, and you look back on your line when you're giving a guided horse tour, and you see this gal or this man, and they're hanging halfway off the horse sideways like this, but they tend to not think that anything's going on. They think it's just another day, and I'm going, do you see are you looking sideways at what's going on here? And they think about it, and they, oh yeah, I do feel a little bit off. So okay, well here, let me help you. Let me push you back up in the center of the horse. So, yeah, very fun. You meet a whole bunch of nice people out there.
Okay.
It's funny, we'll be given a guided horse tour, and you'll meet people that are from different countries, from different cities, and the next thing you know, you're talking to someone that's right like a mile away from you back at your house. And it's like everyone has been so far away from each other, and they all come to enjoy this national park, and they end up being so close or so far away, but everybody's here to do the same thing. Yeah,
So you're
fun.
riding every day?
Pretty much, yeah, 5-6 days a week.
5-6 days a week. Okay. And so you involved in the feeding the horse
Uh-huh. Yep, the day usually started at about like 5:30 in the morning,
early?
and then we finished up about 9 at night, pulling the saddles off the horses. So there was
That's a long day.
there was a dozen rides given a day.
Probably no naps in there.
Probably.
Never,
not.
yeah. No, sorry, Tony.
I wouldn't do well.
Or Frank, yeah. Yeah. But it was neat, yeah, very neat. So the day was long. You started in the morning, and then throughout the day, you gave about a dozen rides. We ran through about like 240 people per day.
Okay. That's a lot.
That you gave
yeah.
guided horse tours, and they were
Wow.
usually about like an hour to 2 hours long. So
Okay.
seeing everything.
Same trail?
Same trail. Yeah,
So you
well, a
get to- you
couple
get to know
different
the
trails.
You get
Yeah,
to know the
Yeah.
trail then.
very much so, and the horses know it, and yeah,
Okay.
very quick.
Okay. And how long did this last, this job?
This job I did it for 3 years.
But I mean,
That's a
in
long
the summer.
time, yeah.
During the summer, about 3 months.
So 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So was there any deviation from that?
That was it. That was what you did. You could, if you wanted to, you could go, and if you planned to stay there longer, granted I didn't because I would go back to school during that time, and you could stay longer and then transfer to another location in the park, or that same location, that lodge. But that lodge tended to close end of September, October. So you had to go because the winter season would come around. The snow was coming at the end of September. So
There another crew that comes in?
for another crew, yeah, for the winter crew, the snowmobiles came in. Not at that lodge, actually. That lodge shut down. So they would pull all the water out of the piping, and then they would bring in, pretty much, there's a winter keeper that would watch everything, watch the boilers, keep some water through the pipes, keep them warm. So
is that where you got interested in shoeing there?
That's where I got into
watching the
shoeing.
shoers there? Or?
Yep, I got into shoeing into that because I liked watching them. I felt like I enjoyed working with the horses. And then I thought what I was going to college for, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that I loved. And then I went horseshoeing.
No, what were you in college for?
Fire science.
Fire science.
Fire science. Going through, working through to get towards a couple of fire departments. So
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but I enjoy working with my hands and doing something and being active and so I tended to. I felt like horses were.
Do you think it was the shoeing that got you connected to the horse, or was it something else?
I would say just the horses riding them.
Just riding the horses. What was it about that?
I would say just the interaction between you and the horse and what you can go through with the horse.
Even a string of horses.
Even a string of horses. Even though there's one, each one of them, even though they're the same and they know what their job is, each one of them had a different personality. Each one of them moved differently. Each one of them acted differently. And then there's some, just like people with horses, people are the same way. You're attracted to some people more than others, and you tend to feel that way. And with the horses, it's the same thing. And I felt like that was a good thing for me to do.
That was the first year?
First year.
So it didn't take too long.
I was hooked. Yeah.
Okay. And did you know it at that point?
I didn't, but you felt it. You could feel it. I felt it down inside that I would enjoy doing this.
So you did that for 3 years, and then when did you start the shoeing?
In between my second and third year.
Working there. So you started actually when you were working there.
Actually, I went to college. I did college for a year. And then after my college for a year, in between my second and third season up in Yellowstone working, I went to horseshoeing school.
Okay.
Up there?
In Pacific Coast Horseshoeing School. It's over here in Plymouth right now. The instructor is Bob Smith.
Okay.
So I shod there, and then from there I went back up to Yellowstone for a third year.
Were you shoeing or just wrangler up there?
I was wrangling. I'd gone up not intentionally on my third year to go to Yellowstone for a third year. I was working for a different outfit down in Boulder, Wyoming, which is below Jackson.
Okay.
I was shoeing for an outfit called Knowles. It's a national outdoor leadership school where they take pretty much kids in and they run them through like a 3-month course. And within the 3 months, each month is divided up into something different, from whether it's horsepacking or it's kayaking or rock climbing. And for the first 2 weeks of each month, you learn in the classroom of how to do whatever activity that you're doing. And then for the second week, the last 2 weeks of that month, you went out and you pretty much used that in the field. So the course that I worked for right out of horseshoeing school, so the winter in between my second and third year, I came back, went to work for Boulder, worked for Knowles. And for Knowles, it was that was my job, was the horseshoeing. So I was very fortunate right out of shoeing school to pick that job up.
Okay.
Pretty much on the job training. And then from there I shod for there. And then when that season ended, I went up to Yellowstone National Park and continued to give guided horse tours up there.
So you're doing both, you're shoeing,
Yes, correct. And then
guiding.
so I went back up to Yellowstone, and I didn't necessarily shoe directly for Yellowstone. They have outside horseshoers that come in and shoe those horses in there.
Would that have been a good deal?
Yes, it would have. I've helped them a couple times, but I wasn't necessarily. I was still working for Xanterra at that time, so I wasn't brought in by the outside horseshoers, because there's actually one gentleman for the outside horseshoers that runs the group of horseshoers.
So
that
you
shoes all
got
horses.
pretty well experience in that 3 years then.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of,
very fortunate. Yeah,
right? Because you started learning about the structure of a horse, and you got to learn that aspect as well.
very much so.
Okay,
Yeah, very much so.
okay. So your career was established within 3 years,
Felt it. Yeah,
and you're still a young kid.
still very young.
Okay.
Yeah, it was neat. It very quickly, and then it happened to be California, where where we live here. It's so populated with horses nowadays, and there's definitely not enough horseshoers.
So, okay, so let's go back a little bit. Where were you born?
I was born in Roseville.
Right here.
So you're
Right
local. Okay.
Yep, local.
Local, okay.
Went
So,
to Granite Bay High School.
really local.
Yep.
Really local.
Yeah, very.
Okay. So, you have a sister?
Uh huh. I have one
Younger-
sister.
Younger, older?
Younger.
Younger.
Yeah, about
Okay.
2 years.
2 years, okay. So you're the oldest. So tell us a little bit about your parents.
My folks, my dad, he works for SMUD. Then my mother, she's a
SMUD?
SMUD electrician.
Electrical company.
Yep,
Sacramento
just like
Electric
PG&E.
Oh, okay.
Municipal
Sacramento.
Utility District.
And then my mother, she's an independent business consultant
For what? What does she
for herself, for project
consult?
managing.
What does she consult?
Project managing.
Okay.
So she pretty much will go in and take care of pretty much if a company has a plan, or they need a plan, she pretty much makes a plan with them and then pretty much makes the plan see through, so to the end.
And your father's an electrician?
He's not necessarily an electrician, he just works for SMUD.
Oh,
So works for SMUD, he's they call it pretty much energy efficiency he works for. So he goes around to a lot of like Kikkoman and Pepsi and Cola, and he helps them like run their factories more efficiently,
okay.
working to help out and then conserve energy, keep their
Okay.
costs down.
So your father into horses?
He's not.
Mother?
Nope.
Ever?
No.
So neither mother nor father?
Neither.
How about sister?
No.
So what do they think of this?
I smell.
You smell.
Yeah.
They won't let you come in the house with your shoes on.
Yeah,
right?
my mom, the first time I come home after I started shoeing down here, she goes, "What in the world is that smell?" And I go, "Mom, it just smells good. Don't you like?" "No, get out of the house. Go take your clothes off. Clean up." Yeah.
Well, tell the viewers a little bit more about the smell as a horseshoer.
Horseshoeing, you acquire a smell, and a lot of people think it's rank. I don't really smell it anymore after this time, but it's pretty much it's accumulated by a horse, and the horse goes to the restroom in his pasture, and then he tramples in it and walks in it, and then my job is underneath where he steps on all his that he's left on the ground. So I tend to pick it out and pull it off, and then clean it up, and then back to it. But
If
you end up
if you had gloves, would that matter?
you would still smell it, and you'll still go through your gloves. It's pretty potent.
And if you're hot shoeing, you get that
Yep, nice and burnt hoof smell.
hoof smell. Yeah.
Hot shoeing is where you take the shoe and you heat it up in pretty much a big oven that's called a forge, and then you bend the shoe on the anvil, and then when it's bent and flat and still warm, you walk over to the horse and you pretty much sear it on the bottom of the horse's foot. It doesn't hurt him because it's dead hoof. And when it sears on the hoof, it emits a smell, a burned smell of burnt hair. And it happens to just fill every pore of your body and all your shirt and your clothes, and then it smells like burnt hair.
So it doesn't wash out?
It washes out, yeah. A little bit of tide, a little bit of bounce. It comes out pretty good.
How about on your body?
It smells.
It doesn't come out.
Doesn't come out. It's permanent, kind of.
Did you know that going in?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't, and I'm thank God that my girlfriend Hillary is into horses, because I dated a couple gals before that didn't know what horses were and horseshoeing, and they go, "What in the world is that smell?"
This guy never
Yeah.
bathes,
They go,
right?
"This guy reeks. He's out of here." You know.
Okay. All right. So this was. When did you learn about the smell then? Through your mom? Or through your girlfriend or what?
I would say at first with me, knowing that it did smell, and then over the time you don't think about it or smell it anymore.
Uh-huh.
It's only people that aren't around it or accustomed to horses, that's when they tend to really pick up
They
on
pick
it.
up on
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I go into the bank one time, and the teller behind the counter, she goes, "Man, what in the world is that smell?" And I go, "Oh yeah, that's me. Don't worry about it." She cracks me up. She goes, "You must love your job to smell like that." And I go, "I do." Yep.
Okay. So that's one of the negatives of horseshoeing.
Yeah, I guess you could say.
Well, okay. Unless it's a positive.
I think it's a positive. To me, it smells like I'm going to work every day.
Depends who you're
Yeah.
dating.
Depends who you're dating.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Hillary knows if I've gone to work or not that day. She goes, "No, you got to go climb under a couple more horses. You don't smell quite right."
So she's into horses too?
She is, yeah. She loves horses. She loves them more than I do.
More than you?
More than I do, definitely. I have one. She has 3 horses.
How can that happen?
She loves horses.
So you
She's,
both ride, I take it? You
both ride, yes.
ride.
Yep, both ride endurance.
Okay.
Both ride endurance and then trail ride and enjoy it. It's a good pastime, something to connect to. It's I guess, a good common ground between us both.
So, do you see yourself doing anything else other than shoeing at this point?
It's a good question. I'm not exactly sure. I would like to maybe down the road. I enjoy driving heavy equipment. I enjoy driving tractors and stuff. Maybe down the road, if I am unable to shoe some more, that I might go into operating. Physically, it's very demanding on your body. Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
I would say being a horseshoer, you're pretty much underneath the horse, so you're bent over and kind of manipulating your body into a pretzel. And then over time, that wears on your body just like anything if you're bent up or improper posture or takes a toll on you.
Now, I saw a video on horseshoers in Europe, and the customer holds the foot up
Oh, I like that.
while the shoer works on the foot.
We gotta get some of that going on.
That'd make it easier.
Oh my gosh, that would nice.
You saw this?
I saw that, yeah.
What got you to think of?
I don't know, I was just
looking at-
watching, who knows what I was doing on the internet. I was watching. Just something I saw.
Let's go see.
I like that.
Shoers in Europe. Okay. So, what are some of the physical problems that you've experienced so far, if any?
I would say just more the danger of the horse has a mind of its own. So you tend to be underneath the horse, and then something riles the horse up or aggravates the horse, and then they tend to either flee or jump or something, and then usually you're underneath them. And for the biggest part, it's like you're taking a foot away from the horse while you're chewing it. That tends to be one of their getaway points. So I feel that for the horse, you're holding up their runaway. So they tend to either push or flee or kick or anything to happen to you to get away from the situation that they're in. So I would say that would be one of the most.
That's the most dangerous?
I would say, yeah, being underneath the horse. Not necessarily. If you're shaping a shoe to fit to the horse's foot using your anvil, usually you can, some people have elbow problems or they have carpal tunnel or something from swinging a hammer all the time. But I would say that's the most part, is the physical part of that, of the danger of just being underneath the horse.
Have you had injuries?
Yes.
What kind of injuries have you had?
I've had, as mounting the shoe to the horse's foot, you use nails and you drive them through the foot into dead horns. There's nothing alive that you're nailing into. And then I've had some horses pull back before it's called wringing the nails off, before you clip them off. And I've had my hands tore open before, and I've been bit quite a few times and then kicked quite a bit.
Yeah, Steve was bit. He was picked up by the shoulder and shook.
I've had it. Yeah.
You've had that?
Yep. I had one horse. I was bent over cleaning up the front of his foot, and he grabbed my belt and he picked me up and put me right back down. And I just look around at him and I go, oh my gosh, he's like, I got your number, buddy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish up or hurry up, get out of here. Yeah. It was funny.
Funny?
You had to laugh at it because he was like, what you gonna do? So
What are you gonna do?
yeah, your $160 compared to my $1,200. Come on. Yeah.
So what other funnies have you had?
I would say probably the most horses that tend to be the most difficult are the smallest ones that are little miniature horses. I feel like it's a whole bunch of attitude and tiny little forelegs. And I remember I was at this one place down in Penridge shoeing, and this little horse was just being a real turd. And he's running and kicking and all kinds of stuff, and I'm climbing underneath him. And he finally starts to calm down. And I'm sitting underneath him, doing the back end of him, trimming his back feet, so I'm near the rear end. And I'm trimming away, and next thing I know, I look around, and here comes a big old bunch of horse apples. And they come and land right on my shoulder as I'm underneath him. But the funny thing was, the horse's name was Surprise.
Surprise.
So it was a big surprise as it came on down. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other stories?
There's many to tell, but Yeah.
Okay. When do you decide you're no longer going to shoe that horse?
After you could probably get beat up too much,
Does
or
that
it's
happen?
enough.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
there's
yeah?
there's so much that you can take, as in anything that you do. Once you pretty much your body knows, and you've pretty much got rid of all the options that you can think of to make it happen, and then you tend to just say, I just got to give up.
Well, that, and you're
Not
not the
necessarily, but
trainer
just give
either.
up.
Some,
so true.
Yeah, some customers think you're you're supposed to train their horse at the same time you shoe them.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
No. That's probably the biggest challenge with
Yeah.
a lot of people, a lot of horses. So,
Explain.
as in having a lot of people tend to think the horseshoer is the trainer to make them stand and deal with their feet and everything, and that's not necessarily the horseshoer's job. I would say the horseshoer's job is to shoe the horse, not train the horse.
Should be trained before you get there.
Agree.
Yeah.
Or on the right path.
Right. So what? Just to be controversial a little, what do you think of barefoot? The barefoot thing going on, all the
Yeah, it's pretty popular again.
Uh-huh.
yeah, goes up and down depending on how many horses are lame.
True. I would say it's so barefoot is pretty much a horse without shoes, and then I would say for some people I think that's great. I think it really works for either if they have a budget that they need to for their horse, if their horse has great feet, if they tend to if their horse tends to need some time off for relaxation. I would say there's a lot of benefits to barefoot.
Yeah,
in
that's a
that
little
sense.
different than using it for endurance, though. I mean, a lot of them
Agreed.
are using, wanting to go strictly barefoot for everything they
For
do.
everything they do,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. There's a lot of new applications nowadays that cater to barefoot, as in different boots that you can glue on instead of nailing shoes on. It's a toss-up. I mean, because they've been shoeing horses for thousands and thousands of years, and then all of a sudden this kind of barefoot wave comes in, and I feel that kind of the natural thing that's going around is to leave your horse natural. And I don't know. I think it's a good phase. I feel like it's all a part of way to contribute to the horse community. I feel that it benefits the horses, as in keeping jobs for the horse industry, as in through the barefoot way, and then even shoeing also. I think there's a lot of good pluses in it and everything. I don't necessarily I shoe my own horses. I don't go any barefoot just because I don't like to put a boot on for every endurance ride that we go to. I like to just
They come
put them in
off.
the trailer and
They
let's
come
go
off.
home.
They
Yeah.
come off.
Yeah.
The boots come off.
So,
Oops.
but
Okay.
Losing your.
My mic.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, yeah, there's the batteries and everything. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave it here. This is what happens on a show. All right. So you've been shoeing. You've become very knowledgeable about the horses. You've had some difficulties with certain horses, right? Would you recommend this occupation to others?
I would.
What kind of people do you think make the best shoers?
I would say the probably people that make the best horseshoers are people that are self-driven, that enjoy working for themselves, but also do have dedication to what they do. I would say it definitely helps to have some horsemanship in your bag of tools that you have. I think that definitely helps you out. I would say someone that likes to work with their hands. And you don't necessarily have to like to work with your hands, but if you enjoy like pretty much doing art, I feel like horseshoeing is an art, because you're taking an object of, in this case, steel, and you're shaping it into another shape. I feel that's partially art. I also feel that people that are good with like seeing things that are level and watching how things have movement of things. So so I feel that's all like a great aspect for horseshoeing. I do recommend it to people, even if you don't make a profession out of it, even just to go to a horseshoeing class and just to kind of feel it out for yourself and understand of what goes into it. I think it's a very good career because there's a lot of people out here that enjoy their horses, and you get to work on a lot of people's hobbies. This is their hobby, is their horse. And it's neat because a lot of the people you come to tend to build a relationship with your clients, and they become family, and it's really neat. It's a really neat experience from seeing how many different horses that they go through from age of the horse, from when it's young to when it pretty much passes on and they get another horse, and then how far you've gone with it, and it's pretty neat. Yeah. I do recommend it for people if they enjoy just being outside also.
Is there a demand for shoers right now
Yes,
in this area?
very much so.
So where would they go to school?
There's a good place to go to school. It's called Pacific Coast Horseshoeing School. It's the teacher there, his name is Bob Smith. He's down in Plymouth, California, down by Jackson.
Not too far from here.
Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, very close. Very close. So I think that's pretty much Pacific Coast is like one of the #1 rated schools throughout the U.S. It's like I think it's a 89% turnout rate, success rate of actual horseshoers that become and do this for a living is through Pacific Coast.
And how long is that?
The course is 8 weeks.
Okay.
So it's 8 weeks, and within that 8 weeks, they take you from like ground zero all the way up to pretty much helping you manage your books, of pretty much finding a schedule for yourself, from using Excel as in to plug in your mileage and your horses and your income, and then all your materials you learn. He pretty much helps you determine what you need.
Okay,
So
good. So how did this, if it did, how did you get into endurance riding?
Endurance.
How did that happen?
So I came back from Yellowstone my first year, and when I was going to school, I wanted to continue.
Plymouth or college?
College, sorry, the year I did college.
Okay.
And then, so I went to Yellowstone my first year, and then came back to go to school during the winter. And then at that time, I wanted to continue riding horses. And then I had picked up through my sister. She was playing soccer, and one of her soccer friends, one of her teammates on her team, her family had ridden horses, and I kind of got hooked up with her family, and then they kind of showed me into endurance. This was the bowling family.
No.
So that's how you got
That's how you
into the
learned.
bowlings through
Yeah.
your sister?
Through Sean and Tom, correct?
Yeah, I know. No.
Yep.
Through soccer then, in some way?
Through soccer, it would be Sean's brother-in-law.
Okay,
Would be his name is Aaron Wilson.
okay.
Through Aaron.
So this is a while ago then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And so tell us about your first endurance ride.
So my first endurance ride was Campfire West.
Oh, okay.
I did Campfire West, did the 2 days out there, and then
Whose horse?
your horse.
Nails.
Nails. Yep.
How did that happen?
It did. I don't know.
Your very first
Was Nails.
Nails.
Yeah.
Does Linda know that?
She does.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
My first ride was Nails on the Campfire West, and then right after that I went and did the Virginia City 100
With Nails.
with Nails. Yep.
Okay.
Second ride.
Second ride.
Went at it.
So you went from a 50 to 100?
50 to 100, yep.
Well, that's
It's a jump.
And how'd that go?
Good. A little
Good?
bit of raspberries, a
Yeah.
little bit of soreness, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
really
Very
really,
fun, yeah.
Really, that's a big jump going from a 50 to 100.
Very much so.
Tell us your thinking at the time. If
You know,
if you did much thinking.
I did think, in a sense, but on the other hand, for me, it was just another horseback ride.
He was young.
Exactly.
He was
True.
young.
Yeah.
It's true.
It was. Yeah, no, it was very fun. I had the privilege to ride with Jeannie Bonner, Ed Bonner from the sheriff's.
Okay.
Ed Bonner, of his wife Jeannie Bonner. We did the Virginia City 100 together.
Okay.
Yep, and that was very fun. Her and I the whole way. Yep, all the way up. It was funny. We were going up Mount Davison in the Virginia City 100, which is almost to 75 miles in. When you're going over the top and it's pitch dark, and then you crest over the hill, and then there's Reno, and just the neon lights are just so blinding that you can't see the trail in front of you, and it's dark, and then it was kind of different at first because we look at us, we look forward, you really can't see front and far of you, and then here comes two people going the opposite way on the trail, in the dark. So you're going, oh God,
Who's
okay,
going the
Jeannie
wrong
and
way?
I are going. This is our first time doing it with 100. We'd never seen this before, and these people are going the opposite way. Are we going the right way? So we ended up following down, and I'm like, Jeannie, my sense of direction, we're going the right way. Let's go. So we kept on going down there, all the way down. And I remember Jeannie just saying, are we going the right way? And I'm going, yes, we are. Come on, let's go. We got to get home. So
It was
made
the
it.
right way.
It was the right way. We made it all the way home.
So what were these other people
Yeah, I would say
doing?
you
I have no idea.
never saw him again.
I didn't.
It was
They
dark.
might still be
No,
out
I
there.
didn't. They could be. They're wandering.
It was dark.
Yeah.
What year was this?
2009.
Oh gosh, it's
Yeah.
not long
No.
ago.
No, recent. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is brand new. So what was Nails like on that 100?
Nails. So Nails is Frank's wife's horse, which is I used to ride Nails previously before Linda had him, and Nails he was a great horse. I would say Nails loves to ride at night. He likes it when the lights turn out, his game turns on, and he likes to go for it. And not necessarily going. I would say Nails is one of the most sure-footed horses that I've ever ridden, and just his sense of direction is very good. And just the way he takes care of himself, he's a very independent horse, which is very neat, which is
So
nice
what did
to
he
see in a
teach you?
horse. He taught me that he's going to take me through it. That trust into him.
Uh-huh.
And then because at night you can't see in front of you when you're riding, but though the horse can see very well at night. And as you go along, you pretty much kind of just got to learn to let go of the reins and just let him have it and put your faith in him because he's going to get you through it because you sure the hell can't see where you're going. So, yeah, very neat, very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many rides did you do with Nails?
Not exactly sure.
Okay.
I know I could call Hillary right now when she would tell me because she is she
would know.
loves that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
She loves researching and looking at everything, and she's already got our rides planned out for this whole year. So
Okay.
I tell her, she always tells me, "Where do you want to go, honey? Where do you want to go this year?" And I go, "Honey, don't ever tell me that, because I just drive the trailer and I throw my horse in and we go."
Okay.
So, but that's the best part about it.
So when did you get your first horse?
My first horse was through one of my clients I'd picked up. George would be my first horse.
When was that?
That would be, I would say probably 2 years ago.
So
Picked
okay,
up George.
Just recently.
Yeah, not long ago.
So you're riding Tom's horses?
Yes, correct. Tom and Sean's horses, and the Nails was their horse, correct.
Okay,
So I had just rode for them.
Okay.
Yep.
So you were conditioning their horses or training them?
I wouldn't say conditioning their horses. I just rode Nails, and then I would shoe for a couple of their horses
Oh, you'd
for
shoe them too?
for the privilege of riding
Riding
them.
them.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So
to
that
trade.
was for me. I felt was a very nice trade-off.
Okay.
So practice for me. I get to ride their horse. So yeah, it worked out really good, and they enjoyed it because they got to go for a ride because their horses have shoes on. So
Okay.
very good trade-off.
All right. And then, so a couple of years ago, you got your first horse, George.
I got my first horse, George.
So
Yep.
what's George?
George is a quarter horse.
Really?
He's all quarter horse. Yep, he's all quarter horse. Kind of unknown in the horse world. Besides Pat Chappelle, yeah, with her
Yeah.
quarter horse Thunder or Thundy. So George is he's gelding. He's foaled in the year 2000.
Okay.
So he's not super old. Well, he'll be coming up 14, coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And but for me, he is like my steady Eddie. I love him. Yeah. And I take him everywhere and ridden him into a couple bars and yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he goes right in. Yeah, he enjoys it. He likes having a good time. So Hillary and I will use him to start a couple of our horses, kind of just dally him up to George, and George will pull him in and kind of teach him some manners. And yeah, it's kind of funny. He's like the godfather of all our horses. They all kind of. It's kind of sickening, actually. All the horses kind of come next to George and kind of put their head down and like they're almost bowing at him. But yeah, he's very funny.
So
yeah,
done
he's
any
a character.
rides on him? Any
I
endurance
have.
rides on?
Yep. Actually, I did the Virginia City 100 last year on him.
Okay.
Okay.
So yep, went the whole way. Yep. I've done the Melissa Ribley's ride on him,
Mm-hmm.
and then both Sean and Tom's ride, Campfire West, and a couple others on him too.
Okay.
So.
How many endurance miles do you have?
That's a good question. I would probably
Did you get
call.
one of those
I got.
little- one of
I
those-
did. I don't remember. I actually don't remember what the last one was. I remember I had the one for my 1,000-mile buckle. I sent Hillary a picture. I turned the patch over, and the the arc of the 1,000 or
Right.
whatever it was. So I turned it over in a big old smile, and I took a picture for Hillary. And so yeah, I think I'm at maybe 1,300 now.
Okay.
So
you're
yeah, slowly but sure.
okay.
Yeah,
What are
far
your-
behind you guys. So.
What are your horse?
Yeah.
What are your horse goals?
My horse goals are to enjoy and support the AERC. So I feel very fortunate and thankful that we can enjoy and ride pretty much all over the United States on our horse. A lot of it's still like historical way of travel. So I feel like that's a lot of history that goes into it.
So you shoe 5 days a week,
Monday through Friday.
and then you ride on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
So you do horse stuff.
All the
I
time.
know. I know. I know. I would say horses were my true passion. I shoe them for a living and I enjoy riding them, but I love my motorcycle.
You love your
I like
motorcycle.
my Japanese quarter horse,
So,
my Kawasaki.
so you get to ride that too then?
That is.
Okay.
Yeah. Just something different between your legs.
Something.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Okay. So, let's go back to. You were telling me, and I haven't talked with you in a while, that you bought some land in
In Newcastle.
Newcastle. And what's happened with?
Hillary and I, we've been working on it slowly but surely. Our goal last year was actually we're going to put a manufactured home on it. And our goal last year was to to be out there last year, but we kind of didn't meet that goal. Just stuff came up. No. So, but that's okay. Because we enjoy where we're living right now, and we enjoy it. We actually did a lot of endurance miles last year. So, but it was okay. It all works out. And so this year our goal is to get out there this year, but we've got so many brush piles that we need to burn off, but we haven't had a burn day for so long because it's been so dry here. But this last weekend with the rain, it really helped us out.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're gonna go burn some piles this month, or actually this weekend.
Okay. So how much acres do you have?
It's 5 acres.
5 acres.
Yep.
Okay.
In the town of Newcastle. It's kind of a rectangle piece of property.
Okay.
In the front of it is where we're gonna put the house, and kind of lengthwise, in the middle of the lengthwise, more widthwise, there's a big creek with a pond, so it almost separates the front half from the back half. So we'll put our horses on the back half and then live on the front half of it. So
So right now you have how many horses?
I've got 1 and Hillary's got 3.
Not 3.
Four horses.
Yep, 4 horses for all
so
of
you're
us.
boarding now?
I'm sorry?
You're boarding the horses?
No, they're with us.
They're with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have property where you're renting or?
Yeah, we keep the 2 horses at our house right now with us, and then there's 2 at the house we're at right now, and then another one's in a different location down in Lincoln.
Okay, okay. All right. So what's going to happen with you and Hillary?
It's a good question. Someday we will. Someday we will marry. So
How long you been with Hillary?
I've been going on with Hillary, 3, maybe a little more than 3 years.
Uh-huh.
So we've been living together a couple years. So
Okay, so what are your parents saying about this arrangement?
they love Hillary.
They love Hillary?
Yeah, they love Hillary. Yeah, she's one of the family.
So they want you to get married or?
They do. Yep. They do. We will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's taking you so long?
That's a good question. I'm stubborn.
About what? About what?
What?
Change.
Change.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about stubborn about change.
Not necessarily change of.
What are you afraid of?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Some people say that it's always it's John's time, and when John's time will come, it'll come.
She doesn't kick. She doesn't kick.
Nope, she doesn't kick. She doesn't bite. Nothing like that.
Okay. She hasn't injured you.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. So you don't know what you're waiting for?
No, I do not.
So what is Hillary's thoughts about getting married?
She's ready. Come on.
Come on.
She's a woman. She's ready. Always ready. Yeah.
So what do you say to her about getting married or
I
waiting?
say that we will get married.
That's what you tell her?
I do.
She buys that?
She's ready.
She's ready.
She's
She
ready.
is ready. Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked about it, and that's gonna be. And then
So do you perceive yourself marrying her?
yes,
In what length of time?
I would say. Killing me, Frank. Killing me. Feel like I'm talking to Linda right now.
Well, what you could do is do what Linda did to Frank.
Oh, let's hear that. Let's change it
See,
up a little bit.
It came up. She had to renew her passport, and she goes to Frank, "Which name should I put on the passport?"
Oh.
See, we were going to go to
Yeah.
Mexico.
Okay.
So what name should I put on the passport?
Says, "I don't want to change it later after I get it."
So if I get
Oh.
and then if I change, I got to pay additional money for the name change of the passport. She was right.
It worked.
It worked, yeah. So I said, well, sure, then, yeah, so we might as well get married.
Excellent.
let's go back to John.
Yeah.
So you're not sure.
I would say within the next year to 2 years.
Okay. Okay. Any rationale for that? To do it, not to do it?
No.
But why? When did
Timing.
What's the timing? Explain that.
That's a good question. I don't know. I just feel like that's a good time. I don't know how to describe
So you're
it.
not ready to make that commitment. Just
I would say I would say I'm ready, but not tomorrow.
But not tomorrow.
So how old were your parents when they married?
Way before me. They were 18 and 19.
Were young.
Mm-hmm.
Young. Okay. Is your sister married?
No.
Okay. Okay. So no pressure from your parents about getting married?
Not really.
Your
Not
mom
really.
Your mom doesn't want a grandkid?
Oh, I'm sure she does.
Should say that to you?
You know, I'm sure she does.
Okay. Tony's laughing. Okay. So you and Hillary are going in that direction of getting married.
Yes.
You're going to be dealing with your house this year.
Yep.
Okay, that. Your endurance rides, this is what you're doing. You ride your motorcycle. And what else does John Brain do?
I shoot horses.
Well, we know that. Other than being with horses 7 days a week, being with Hillary, riding your motorcycle, what else is there about John?
Ooh. Having a good time.
Doing what?
Anything and everything.
Well, what do you do?
Any hobbies? Any other hobbies? Things you do other than horses?
Working on my property. Yeah, for me that's a hobby I enjoy. I enjoy working on things. And it could be everything from my truck to my piece of property to Hillary and my relationship. And then on from there. So I would say, I mean, my hobbies are my horses and my dirt bike.
In that order?
In that, according to Hillary, yes. According to me, no.
What order?
What?
What's the order for you?
For me, dirt bikes and then horses.
But she sees it other.
Of course.
What do you mean, of course?
Because I tell you, I just drive the truck. I drive the truck and she knows the destination. She knows where we're going.
Okay. So she's a serious endurance rider then.
Yes. Yeah, she really enjoys endurance.
How many miles does she have?
I want to say she's got a little over 600.
So less than you. But yet she's
Gung-ho.
gung-ho.
Yep. Kind of makes her, it flusters her because I just kind of nonchalant, kind of just go through an endurance ride, and she's very competitive in it. And it doesn't bother me of whether I enjoy it or don't ride or whatever it is. But it's always funny to me for her. So she's very competitive, so I always tease her that you're never going to catch me in miles. And she makes her all red and flustered.
So
Yeah.
she likes to race. I mean, she
likes to move out.
okay.
Yeah.
So you get two race?
What?
You two race then during the ride?
No. I let her go.
Oh, you do? You do?
I just ride in the back. I ride for the conversation.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more social for you?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, very much social and enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to see it go by as a blur.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in terms of the viewing audience?
Not necessarily. I appreciate anything that supports the horse community.
Okay. Well.
Anything and everybody.
Okay. Well, that's great. So, anything else you want to ask John about the horse stuff, or?
I think other than, if we had any other activities, like athletic activities, or you don't run, or you hike, or.
Used to play soccer and run, but
Okay.
I can't anymore. So.
Yeah, we can't get John for a ride and tie.
We can't.
Yeah, no.
No.
Bad knees,
Arthritis.
arthritis. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Genetic wise.
Okay. Well, Tony gave me this article this morning before running, and it says 9 things happy people don't do. So why did you give me this article?
Well, I'm kind of a happy person.
Okay.
It was just, interesting to me. I thought you would enjoy reading and get something out of it.
It'd make me happy, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so John, I'm going to read you the first. He's got 9 things. The first one, I guess I got to do this quick. Happy people don't blame other people for their problems. Do you agree?
Agree.
Okay. So for the viewing audience, number 1, 9 things happy people don't do is happy people don't blame others people for their problems. Do you agree?
I agree.
There's a little story that I'm always telling Tony that it's his fault about running or about where I'm living, and I just kid him, blaming him, but it's really not. Well, I guess I was blaming you or saying it's your fault.
Yes, it's my fault.
But not in a negative way. Anyway, we want to thank everyone for joining us, and John, you're a good sport and
Thank you.
talking to you about Hillary, and
We're sending this to her.
and
By
you're
the way.
getting you're getting a DVD of this, and if you want to show Hillary your DVD of the show, that'd be great. And but I'm sure she's seen you on the spot before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for another show. It has nothing to do with age or gender. We'll see you next time.